This is the iPhone 17 Pro and the new iPhone Air. Starting with the Pro, I ended up going with deep blue because there wasn't a black option, but it does remind me a lot of the blue they had of the 15 Pro, and I really like that. I did consider going with orange, but when I saw it in store, I thought it looks great in person, but I feel like it's just generally too much, and the silver is just too bright of a phone for me. But picking it up, this definitely has a presence in your hand when you're holding it. But on the other end of the spectrum, I was interested in trying out the Air because the engineering that goes into making something so thin and light is just super impressive. All the compute is basically just in this camera bar at the top, and the rest of it is battery. And this was my first time picking up the Air. I avoided it when I went by the store to pick it up. And the weight, or lack thereof, is insane. It weighs just a bit less than the iPhone 10, but it feels a lot more like the iPhone 5, if that makes sense. Like, every gram counts when it's something you're so hands-on with, so I feel like you're really sensitive to these slight changes in weight. And comparing it next to the 17 Pro, you can really see how everything was shrunk down to make this work. Like, all the buttons are smaller, camera control is thinner, there are no speakers at the bottom, and it's just barely thicker than the USB-C port. I can definitely see how the iPhone Air is like the product of all R&D that they need to do to make like folding phones and a smaller Vision Pro. Since they're already miniaturizing and making thinner devices, they might as well start making something with all that work on the way there. Now, I've been using these for a few days, and I'm surprised at how much I've enjoyed using the Air. Like, it might just be the novelty of it being the new one, but I'll see how I feel as I spend more time with each one of them and see how they fit into my day-to-day use. Starting with the Pro, this is just a really good phone. It's a little bigger and heavier, but they put in a triple 48 megapixel camera with an 8x zoom, a vapor chamber for cooling, and it's up to 33 hours of battery life for the smaller one. It reminds me a lot of when the MacBook Pro got thicker and they brought back the ports. There's a compromise going on that lets this be a Pro device at the expense of a slightly larger footprint. And I also don't mind this full-width camera bar or plateau. I think it makes the back look a lot more balanced. But speaking of which, I think the only thing really pushing me to the Pros is the cameras. I take a lot of photos, and a good chunk of the B-roll in my videos is shot on my phone while I'm out and about. So I kind of need to make sure that I have a good enough camera that's with me all the time. Also, I immediately really liked having the extra reach of the telephoto. So the lens itself is bumped down from 5x to 4x, but since it's a 48 megapixel sensor, they can crop down into the middle 12 to get you that 8x zoom without losing any quality. And this is equivalent to like 200 millimeters on a full frame camera, which is just something I've never really used before. And it's been really fun, and I've gotten some interesting shots that I normally wouldn't be able to get without having to digitally crop in. On the other hand, the Air does have a larger screen, but it's only a single camera with a single speaker and USB 2 speeds. But the overall thinness is super compelling, and I like how little presence it has. I couldn't tell it was in my pocket, and I've left it in my car a couple of times, and when I use it, it just feels like a lighter interaction with a device compared to like the Pro. And when tech is everywhere, I've done a lot lately to actively reduce my screen time, so it's nice to use something that isn't constantly reminding me it's there and to pick it up and do something with it. Now, I also wanted to see just how different the main cameras were between these two phones. So I took the same shots with both of them at either 1x or 2x, just so it's consistent, and it only stayed on the main sensor for the Pro. The Pro definitely starts to pull ahead when you need to zoom in a bit more past 2x or even zoom out at 0.5x if you can't physically move back anymore. But I think they both came out great with just like this initial testing. Let me know down in the comments which one you think is the Air and which one is the Pro. I'll put the answer at the end of the video. But I'm going to keep testing both of these out for the next couple of weeks to see if I end up with a thinner phone that is just more delightful to use, or if I end up with the phone that has the better cameras that's much more convenient for me to have around with me all the time. But thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos about tech, cameras, and making. Here's a video about a Bamboo Lab 3D printer, and here's a video that YouTube thinks you're going to like the best.